I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Right now, somewhere close to you, a cat has already made a decision. The most deliberate, deeply instinctual decision a feline can make. It chose you. Tonight, you'll discover the hidden psychology behind why cats sleep with their humans, and understand why that small, warm presence beside you means far more than you ever imagined. Welcome to the Sleepy Safari. Wherever you are right now, perhaps already feeling the familiar weight settle beside you, or remembering the warmth of a cat curled near your feet, allow yourself to rest into this quiet. We'll discover 100 sleepy facts about the psychology of cats that sleep with you. From the ancient instinct that first drew a wild cat toward a human fire, to the brain chemistry that makes a purr feel like medicine, to the extraordinary science of what happens when two different species fall asleep together. These calm journeys through animal science create a community of curious, gentle minds who love learning as they rest. A soft like, subscribe, or sharing this with someone who loves their cat creates a pathway for more animal lovers to discover this peaceful space, and brings us closer to protect it, one sleepy soul at a time. Your presence here tonight means everything to us. Settle deeper into wherever you're resting now. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your breathing slow to something easy and natural. You don't need to hold on to any of this. Just feel that gentle heaviness spreading through you, like a cat has curled itself softly across your chest, warm and trusting, pulling you both down toward the same peaceful dark. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're resting where ancient trust was first exchanged between two different species. Let your mind settle with the quiet weight of that bond. And now, we begin. Cats are one of the only animals on Earth that domesticated themselves about 10,000 years ago in the ancient Near East. As human settlements began storing grain, small wildcats called Felis libica were drawn by the rodents those stores attracted. They moved closer to people not because they were trained or captured, but by choice, generation by generation. The cats that were calmer around humans survived better and reproduced more. What we call domestication in most animals was a deliberate human act. With cats, it was something more like a mutual agreement. That original negotiation, struck 10 millennia ago, is still quietly in place. Every night, a cat decides where to sleep. The domestic cat shares approximately 95% of its genome with the tiger, despite thousands of years living alongside humans. The cat's brain, nervous system, and basic survival instincts remain largely unchanged from its wild ancestors. A cat sleeping beside you is not simply a tame animal. It is a small predator, ancient and intact, that has made a daily calculation about safety, warmth, and social connection. The fact that it chooses you in this vulnerable state, the unguarded hours of sleep, is not a small thing in its world. In the wild, cats are both predators and prey. Small felids are hunted by larger animals, which means that where a cat sleeps is one of the most important survival decisions it makes each day. Cats in the wild seek elevated, enclosed, or hidden spaces, places where they can see danger before it arrives and escape quickly. When a domestic cat sleeps beside a human instead, it is making a deliberate departure from this ancient instinct. It is saying, In the language of biology, that your presence makes it feel safer than any hiding place would. A 2024 study published in the Journal of Mammalogy used non-invasive EEG technology to measure sleep in domestic cats during afternoon naps for the first time. Researchers found that cats experience both slow-wave sleep and REM sleep, similar to humans and dogs. During REM sleep, cats showed rapid eye movements and small muscle twitches, suggesting they were dreaming. The study also found that cats in a familiar home environment reached deeper, more restful sleep stages more quickly than cats in unfamiliar settings. Who and what is nearby during sleep appears to affect how deeply a cat can rest. Cats sleep an average of 12 to 16 hours a day. This is not laziness. It is physiology. Cats are obligate carnivores, whose hunting strategies require intense bursts of explosive energy. Between those bursts, the body must recover fully. Sleep is where muscle repair, immune function, and memory consolidation happen. A cat that sleeps deeply and safely is a cat that hunts effectively. When your cat sleeps long hours beside you without anxiety, curled and still, it is demonstrating one of the clearest signs of contentment that its biology can produce. The warmth of a human body is a powerful draw for cats. A cat's ideal resting temperature is between 86 and 97 degrees Fahrenheit, which is warmer than most indoor environments. The human body maintains a surface temperature of about 92 to 94 degrees Fahrenheit, making it essentially a perfect natural heat source. Cats are extraordinarily sensitive to thermal gradients and will seek out the warmest available resting spot. That a cat chooses to sleep against or on top of you is partly thermodynamics, but it is also the specific warmth of a trusted body, which is a different thing entirely. Cats have scent glands on their cheeks, forehead, chin, and the base of their tail. When a cat rubs against you or presses its face to yours before sleep, it is depositing pheromones that mark you as part of its social territory. This behavior, called bunting, is not performed with just any object. Cats bunt living things they have chosen, other cats in their social group, and the humans they have decided belong. When a cat settles against you for sleep after bunting, it has officially placed you within the small circle of its world. Research in recent years has found that interactions between humans and their cats appear to elevate oxytocin in both species, particularly when contact involves familiar animals rather than strangers. The increase seems greater during quiet, calm, physical closeness than during active play. Sleep as long, still, warm, and close may be among the quietest, most sustained forms of bonding available to both of you. Cats communicate primarily through body posture, scent, and vocalization, and most of their vocalizations have evolved specifically to communicate with humans. Adult cats in the wild rarely meow at each other. They use meowing almost exclusively with humans. Researchers believe this developed because cats that could effectively communicate their needs to humans received better food and care. The specific sounds a cat makes toward its bonded human, and the timing of those sounds around sleep and waking, represent a communication system that evolved over thousands of years. Designed for you, cats have a concept of social group that researchers call the colony. In feral cat colonies, Cats sleep together, in close physical contact with the members they trust most. This shared sleep is not just thermal comfort. It is a social behavior that reinforces bonds, communicates safety, and regulates group cohesion. When a domestic cat sleeps beside you, it is placing you within its colony. You are not a piece of furniture it tolerates. In the sleep logic of the cat, you are family. The slow blink is one of the most studied gestures in cat communication. When a cat meets your gaze and slowly closes its eyes, it is communicating the absence of threat. In cat body language, a prolonged stare is a challenge or a warning. A slow blink dissolves that tension. Research has shown that humans who return the slow blink to cats they don't know are more likely to receive an approach from the cat shortly afterward. In the context of sleep, a cat that slow blinks at you before closing its eyes is offering a gift it is choosing to become vulnerable in your presence. A cat's purr is produced by the rapid rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the laryngeal muscles in the voice box, at a rate of 25 to 150 times per second. This muscular action creates a pressure differential on the airstream that produces the characteristic sound on both inhale and exhale. The purr is one of the few continuous vocalizations in the mammalian world. It requires no pause between breaths. When a cat purrs against your body during sleep, it is producing a sound that runs like a quiet engine through the night, continuous and steady. The frequency range of a cat's purr, between 25 and 150 Hz, overlaps with frequencies that have been studied for their effects on biological tissue. Research has found that vibrations in the 25 to 50 Hz range appear to promote bone density and tissue repair in laboratory studies, and that the 100 Hz range is associated with reduced pain response in some clinical applications. Whether the purr directly heals human tissue during sleep is not yet fully established in controlled clinical trials, but the frequency overlap has drawn genuine scientific interest. The body pressed against a purring cat is receiving low-level vibrational input throughout the night. A large study published in Scientific Reports in 2024 examined co-sleeping with pets in a nationally representative sample of over 1,500 American adults. The study found something notable. While co-sleeping with dogs was associated with disrupted sleep, co-sleeping with cats did not show the same negative effects. The authors noted that cats tend to be smaller, move less, and disturb their sleeping companions less than dogs. For many people, the quality of sleep with a cat nearby is not meaningfully worse than sleeping alone. And for some, particularly those under stress, it may be better. Stress hormones, particularly cortisol, are directly antagonized by the presence of a trusted companion during rest. The autonomic nervous system has two primary modes: the sympathetic system, which mobilizes the body for action, and the parasympathetic system, which governs rest and digestion. Physical contact with a trusted individual activates the parasympathetic branch. Petting a cat, feeling its warmth, and hearing it breathe quietly beside you all send signals to the nervous system that the environment is safe. The body, receiving those signals, reduces cortisol production. The night beside a cat is chemically quieter than a night alone. Cats do not always sleep in the same position, with the same person each night. Researchers studying feline sleep preferences have found that cats adjust their sleeping location based on recent social interactions, changes in household routine, and their own physical comfort needs. A cat that has not spent much time with a particular person during the day may choose to sleep near them at night. As if recalibrating the relationship, sleep, for the cat, appears to be part of its ongoing management of social bonds. The position a cat chooses when sleeping with a human carries specific behavioral meaning. Cats that sleep pressed against a human's legs or feet are expressing comfort without full vulnerability. Cats that sleep on a human's chest or stomach, close to the face, are expressing the deepest level of trust. This position exposes the cat's soft underbelly and brings its face close to a potentially dangerous pair of hands. Cats that sleep curled at a slight distance are in a state of relaxed proximity, close enough to feel safe, independent enough to maintain their sense of self. All of these are forms of intimacy. Cats appear to be sensitive to human emotional states, particularly stress and sadness. Multiple studies have found that cats spend more time near their owners during periods of illness, grief, or anxiety. The mechanism is not fully understood, but researchers suggest that cats may detect changes in human cortisol levels through scent, notice changes in breathing and heart rate, or simply respond to the altered behavior of distressed humans, who often become quieter and more still. What is observed repeatedly is this: when a human needs the cat more, the cat tends to come. The cat's ancestors were solitary hunters. Most feline species do not form social bonds the way wolves or primates do. The domestic cat represents a remarkable evolutionary exception. Through the process of domestication, the cat developed an expanded capacity for social attachment, not replacing its independence, but layering social bonding on top of it. The domestic cat can hold both. It can be a self-sufficient hunter that also loves to sleep pressed against another breathing body. That coexistence of independence and attachment is part of what makes the cat's affection feel particularly meaningful when it arrives. Cats have a sense of schedule. They are known for their strong circadian rhythms and their ability to track human routines with remarkable precision. Many cat owners report that their cats begin moving toward the bedroom at a consistent time each night, preceding the human's own bedtime routine. This behavior suggests that the cat has internalized the household's daily rhythm and anticipates the moment when shared rest becomes available. When a cat arrives at the bedside and settles in before you've even said goodnight, it has been waiting for this. The cat's brain has a limbic system, the emotional processing center, that is 66% similar to a human's. This shared architecture means that cats experience fear, pleasure, frustration, and affection through neural pathways that closely parallel our own. The neurochemicals involved, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, function in cats much as they do in humans. When a cat is relaxed and purring beside you in sleep, its brain is in a state that, translated into human terms, most resembles contentment, not tolerance, not comfort-seeking alone, something closer to peace. The allogrooming behavior of cats, mutual grooming between individuals in a social group, is reserved for animals that the cat considers part of its inner circle. Cats that groom humans by licking their hair or face are performing the same bonding behavior they use with their most trusted feline companions. Interestingly, Allogrooming in cats tends to occur most often around sleep. Before rest and after waking, the transitions into and out of sleep are the moments when cats most actively express and reinforce their social bonds. Research into attachment theory has traditionally focused on primates and domesticated dogs. In recent years, studies have begun examining whether cats form true attachment bonds with their humans in the psychological sense, and the evidence suggests they do. In studies modeled on the classic infant attachment experiments, cats showed distress when their owners left and calm upon reunion. They use their owners as a secure base from which to explore a new environment. A cat that chooses to sleep against you is, by the measures of attachment science, showing behavior consistent with secure attachment. Cats appear to dream. During REM sleep, the brain processes emotional memories and consolidates learning. Scientists studying cat sleep with EEG technology have observed brain activity patterns during feline REM sleep that are remarkably similar to human REM patterns. Cats' eyes move beneath their closed lids. Their paws and whiskers twitch. Their breathing becomes irregular. Whatever the content of a cat's dream, it is happening in a brain that is deeply engaged, replaying something that mattered. The animal sleeping beside you is not simply resting, it is also somewhere else, experiencing something. When two individuals sleep in close physical proximity over time, their breathing patterns begin to synchronize. This phenomenon, studied in human pairs, appears to extend to some human-animal co-sleeping relationships as well. Researchers studying co-sleeping with pets have noted preliminary evidence of respiratory synchrony between humans and their cats during restful sleep. Two bodies, different species, different sizes, different internal clocks, gradually falling into the same rhythm. There is something ancient in that, a quiet biological reminder that rest, at its deepest, is not a solitary act. Let's pause here and notice your body. Right now, trillions of cells are working in silence. Your heart is beating, your lungs breathing, your nervous system quietly tending everything. Notice the weight of your body where it rests. Notice the temperature of the air around you. You are a complete ecosystem, self-regulating, self-healing, without your effort or permission. And if there is a cat near you tonight, its body is doing the same quiet work, pressed gently against yours. Two ecosystems, resting together. Now we continue. The sound frequency of a cat's purr can lower human blood pressure. Multiple studies have found that listening to a cat purr is associated with reduced cardiovascular tension. A long-term study at the University of Minnesota, tracking over 4,000 adults, found that current and former cat owners had a meaningfully lower risk of heart attack than those who had never owned a cat, a finding that has continued to draw research attention in the decades since. Cats have two primary sleep states, slow-wave sleep and REM sleep. During slow-wave sleep, the cat is in a light doze, muscles partially relaxed, ears still rotating to track sounds, eyes sometimes slightly open. During REM sleep, the cat is in deep unconsciousness, fully relaxed, dreaming. A cat that trusts its environment enough to enter REM sleep beside you has lowered its defensive readiness entirely. In the wild, this would be an extraordinary risk. With you, it is a gift the cat gives every single night. When a cat sleeps with its nose tucked into its tail or against your skin, it is conserving heat and blocking sensory input, a posture associated with deep comfort and security. The curled-in position reduces the surface area exposed to the environment and protects the abdomen. A cat that does not curl when sleeping with you, that sleeps stretched out and open, exposing its soft underside, is in a state of complete, undefended relaxation. It has decided, in the most physical way possible, that nothing needs protecting. The neurochemical serotonin, which regulates mood, stability, and emotional resilience in both humans and cats, is influenced by physical touch and warmth. Stroking a cat increases serotonin levels in both the person. Research suggests the cat as well. The calm, regular sensation of warmth and breathing that comes from a sleeping cat beside you provides a low-level, continuous sensory input that gently stabilizes the nervous system over the course of the night. Not dramatic, not medicinal, just the quiet chemistry of closeness. Cats have a third eyelid called the nictitating membrane, a pale, translucent tissue that sweeps across the eye from the inner corner. During deep relaxation and the early stages of sleep, this membrane often becomes partially visible as the eye relaxes. When the whiskers relax and spread sideways, as they do in deep sleep, the cat has allowed its most sensitive perceptual tools to disengage. A cat sleeping beside you with fully relaxed whiskers is as unguarded as it ever becomes. Research on feline-human bonding has found that the nature of the relationship varies considerably based on the early socialization experiences of the cat. Cats that were handled gently and regularly by humans between 2 and 7 weeks of age, their critical socialization window, consistently form more secure, more confident attachments with humans throughout their lives. The bond a cat has with you was shaped long before it met you. Its capacity to sleep beside you in trust was built in those earliest weeks, by whoever held it first. The human heartbeat produces a sound that is audible and likely detectable through vibration to a cat sleeping against the chest. The resting human heart beats at a rate of 60 to 100 beats per minute, producing a rhythmic pulse that moves through the thoracic cavity into any surface in contact with it. Researchers studying infant development have found that the maternal heartbeat has profoundly calming effects on newborns. It is not unreasonable to suggest that a cat pressed against your chest is receiving a similar signal. Your heartbeat speaks to it. Cats appear to have individual sleep preferences that persist across different locations and circumstances. Some cats consistently prefer to sleep close to the face, others near the feet, others in a position where they can see the door. These preferences are stable and individual. A cat that has chosen the same spot beside you night after night has not settled there by accident. It has evaluated, adjusted, and repeatedly confirmed its choice. That consistency is itself a form of communication. A repeated vote, cast each evening, for exactly where it wants to be. In multi-cat households, sleep arrangements among the cats reflect the social hierarchy and bond structure of the group. The most bonded cats sleep in direct contact. Cats with neutral relationships sleep nearby but without touching. Cats with social tension sleep in entirely separate spaces. When a cat in a multi-cat household consistently crosses that social space to sleep beside you, choosing you over its feline companions, It is placing you explicitly at the center of its social map. You are its preferred companion for the most vulnerable hours. A slow, steady breathing rhythm during sleep is a signal that the body's autonomic nervous system has shifted fully into parasympathetic mode. This state is associated with lowered heart rate, reduced blood pressure, relaxed musculature, and reduced stress hormone activity. When a cat falls deeply asleep beside you, its breathing becomes slow and visible. The entire side rises and falls in a long, unhurried arc. Watching that rhythm, hearing it, feeling it if the cat is close enough, tends to entrain human breathing toward the same pace. You slow down to match it. It pulls you in. You're still here, still breathing, quietly, in the dark. Take a slow breath. Notice how your body has settled a little more since we began. We're learning the quiet language of cats together tonight. You and I and everyone listening in their own separate rooms. Some of them with a small, warm weight nearby. There's no rush. Let's keep going. Gently. The solicitation purr is a specific variation of the cat's standard purr. Researchers have identified a higher frequency component embedded within it, a cry-like element at around 570 Hz. That is acoustically similar to the frequency of a human infant's cry. Cats appear to have developed this specialized vocalization to communicate urgency to their human companions. When a cat uses this purr at night while pressing close, it is activating one of the most ancient and responsive circuits in the human auditory brain. You are, neurologically, somewhat unable to ignore it. Cats that sleep with their humans tend to show lower baseline stress markers than cats that sleep alone or in separate rooms. Research comparing indoor cats in different living arrangements found that cats with access to their bonded human during sleep had lower morning cortisol levels and more consistent sleep cycles. The presence of the bonded human appears to function as a biological regulator, stabilizing the cat's stress response system overnight. You are, for your cat, a form of medicine that works while you both sleep. The phenomenon of allomarking, where individuals in a social group deposit shared scent to signal group membership, takes on a particular significance in the sleeping space. The bed, the pillows, and the area where sleeping occurs become saturated over time with the combined scent of human and cat. This shared scent environment is not incidental. It is actively maintained. A cat that returns to the same sleeping spot night after night is partly navigating by scent, returning to the smell of its own belonging, the layered chemical record of all the nights it has spent there with you. Studies of feline cognition have found that cats can recognize their owner's voice even when the speaker is not visible, and respond to it differently than they respond to a stranger's voice. Cats also respond to their own name when spoken by their owner in a way they do not respond to other words. These findings suggest a level of individualized social recognition that goes beyond simple conditioned responses. Your cat knows you specifically, not humans in general. You, as an individual, with your specific voice, your specific patterns, your specific way of moving through the night. The paws of a cat contain a significant concentration of sweat glands, one of the few places on the cat's body where perspiration occurs. Kneading, which activates these glands, deposits scent from the paws onto whatever surface the cat is pressing. When a cat kneads your body before sleep, It is not only experiencing a neurological comfort response from kittenhood, it is also marking you with its individual chemical signature. The scent marks are not detectable to humans, but they are very real. You carry the trace of them all night. Cats show what researchers call social referencing, looking to their human companion's face to gauge how to respond to an unfamiliar or ambiguous situation. When something new and potentially alarming appears in the environment, the cat will often look at you first, reading your emotional response before deciding whether to flee or relax. This behavior, also observed in dogs and human infants, is a marker of genuine social bonding. Your emotional state is information that the cat actively uses to navigate its world. When you are calm and still in sleep, that calmness communicates itself to the animal beside you. The bond between a cat and its primary human tends to strengthen over time in a way that mirrors the deepening of long-term human relationships. Studies tracking cat-owner interactions longitudinally found that cats become more attentive, more responsive, and more closely affiliated with their primary person over years, rather than weakening into habit. The longer the relationship, the more specifically tuned the cat becomes to that particular person's patterns, needs, and rhythms. A cat that has slept beside you for many years knows you in a way that has accumulated layer by layer through thousands of shared nights. Human sleep quality is influenced by a sense of safety. The nervous system, before allowing the transition into deep sleep, performs a kind of environmental assessment, scanning for threats, cataloging the sounds and sensations of the surrounding space. A familiar, trusted presence can facilitate this transition by providing continuous sensory evidence that the environment is safe, the sound of purring, the warmth of a body, the familiar smell of a cat. These signals are processed by the nervous system as evidence of security. The cat is not just company. It is a set of signals that tells the sleeping brain you can let go. Research on animal-assisted therapy has consistently found that the presence of animals reduces anxiety in clinical settings. Patients undergoing medical procedures show lower heart rates when a therapy animal is present. Children in stressful situations report feeling calmer when a cat or dog is nearby. The mechanisms appear to involve both the oxytocin response to physical contact and the attentional shift produced by a present. The living creature that requires no conversation and offers only warmth. The therapeutic benefits of animal presence that researchers have measured in clinical settings are available on a smaller scale. Every night, a cat sleeps beside you. We have reached the halfway point of our quiet journey tonight, and already a pattern has emerged. The cat that sleeps with you is not engaging in random behavior. It is expressing something precise, a neurobiological, evolutionary, emotionally layered choice to spend the most vulnerable hours of its existence beside you. Everything we have discovered so far, the purr, the warmth, the scent, the slow blink, the kneading pause, all of it is oriented toward the same quiet truth. The cat has decided you are safe, and in doing so, it has made you safer too. Let each breath guide you now. This moment, this breath, this stillness is entirely your own. The world continues its noise somewhere far from here. But in this particular moment, in this particular room, something old and true is happening. Two living creatures resting near each other, both choosing to be here, That choice has been made by countless cats and countless humans before you. In every era of human history, you are part of a very long, very quiet story. And we continue drifting. A cat's sense of smell is approximately 14 times more acute than a human's. The olfactory system of the cat processes thousands of chemical compounds simultaneously, constructing a rich portrait of its environment through scent alone. When a cat settles against you at night and presses its nose to your skin, it is reading a story, one composed of your health status, your emotional state, what you ate, and how you have moved through the day. The intimacy of that moment is more total than it appears. The cat is close to you in a way that goes much deeper than physical proximity. Social sleep, sleep that takes place in close physical proximity to a bonded companion, has been identified by researchers as a distinct behavioral category from solitary sleep. A 2024 review in the journal Current Biology argued that social sleep deserves to be studied as its own phenomenon, noting that in many species it serves functions that solitary sleep does not, reinforcing social bonds, synchronizing biological rhythms, and reducing vigilance costs by distributing the burden of environmental monitoring across multiple individuals. When a cat sleeps beside you, you are both engaged in social sleep, something older and more complex than simply resting. Cats emit ultrasonic vocalizations, sounds above the range of human hearing, that have only recently been detected and studied using specialized recording equipment. These sounds appear to be produced during social interactions, including those with bonded humans. What these ultrasonic communications contain is not yet fully decoded, but their presence suggests that the conversation between a cat and its human is richer and more continuous than we are able to directly perceive. The night is full of communication we cannot hear. The immune system is directly influenced by the quality of sleep and by the presence of social connection. Both sleep deprivation and social isolation are associated with increased inflammatory markers and reduced immune function in mammals. Conversely, deep sleep and social bonding are associated with reduced inflammation and improved immune resilience. A sleeping cat beside you is, in a small but real biochemical sense, contributing to your immune health. Through the oxytocin it stimulates, the cortisol it reduces, and the quality of sleep it may help to deepen. Cats have a remarkable capacity for what researchers call owner-specific behavior, actions performed with or toward a specific human that are not performed with others. Cats may vocalize in a particular way only with their primary person, seek physical contact only with them, or display comfort behaviors that are exclusive to that relationship. This specificity suggests that the cat's attachment to its bonded human is not simply a generalized positive association with humans. It is a relationship with a particular individual that has its own internal logic and its own language. The bedroom, over time, becomes associated with the bonded human's scent at its most concentrated. Humans produce the highest quantity of skin cells and personal scent compounds in the spaces where they spend the most time in physical stillness. The bed itself becomes a dense record of the human's presence. Cats frequently spend time in these spaces even when the human is absent. Sleeping in the bed, pressing against pillows, they are not simply seeking warmth. They are surrounding themselves with the smell of their person. It is a form of missing someone, translated into the language of the nose. Cats display what ethologists call the tail-up posture when approaching individuals they consider friendly and trusted. A tail carried vertically, rather than tucked, lowered, or biristlet, is the clearest signal a cat can send that it intends a friendly interaction. Cats, approaching their bonded human before sleep with the tail held high, are announcing peaceful intention. They are saying, in the most explicit body language available to them, that they want to be close to you right now. The tail is up. The decision has been made. The circadian rhythm, the biological clock that regulates sleep and waking, is partly entrained by social cues. In humans, the presence of other people can shift the timing of sleep, alter sleep depth, and change the hormonal profile of rest. Cats living with humans similarly adjust their circadian patterns to align with their human's schedule over time. Two beings, different species, slowly pulling each other's internal clocks towards synchrony. By the time a relationship is years deep, the cat wakes close to when you wake. It settles when you settle. Your rhythms have found each other. Cats show measurably higher stress responses when they cannot access their bonded human during normal sleeping hours, such as when separated by closed doors. Cortisol levels, vocalizations, and restlessness are all elevated in cats denied access to their bonded sleeping space. This response mirrors separation anxiety and suggests that the cat experiences your presence during sleep not as incidental comfort, but as something genuinely necessary to its emotional equilibrium. The door between you is not nothing to the cat. It is a small form of loss. Repeated every night, you close it. The transition from wakefulness to sleep is managed in the mammalian brain by a region called the preoptic area of the hypothalamus. Research published in the journal eLife in 2024 identified specific neurons within this area that regulate the timing of REM sleep, the deep dreaming phase. In a process called homeostatic regulation, these neurons track how much REM sleep the brain has accumulated and modulate the pressure to enter that state accordingly. When a cat and a human sleep together over many nights, their REM cycles may begin to reflect each other's patterns. Two brains, gradually harmonizing in the dark. The weight of a sleeping cat, typically between 8 and 12 pounds, produces a gentle pressure on whatever surface it rests against. This kind of low-level pressure has been studied in humans for its calming effects on the nervous system. Weighted blankets, which have gained clinical attention for their effects on anxiety and sleep quality, work through a similar mechanism. Deep pressure stimulation that activates the parasympathetic nervous system. A cat sleeping on your legs or chest is providing a natural form of gentle, consistent pressure that the body registers as calming. Cats that live in environments of chronic uncertainty show measurably higher baseline stress than cats in stable, predictable environments. Conversely, cats in quiet, routine households with a secure bonded human demonstrate behavioral markers of low chronic stress, sleeping in open, unguarded positions, seeking out their human voluntarily, and showing few or no defensive behaviors. The quality of the life a cat lives during the day shows up in how it sleeps at night. A cat that sleeps openly and trustingly beside you is partly reflecting the safety you have provided across all the waking hours. Cats engage in allogrooming, most commonly around the head and neck, the areas that are difficult for a single animal to groom alone. The act of receiving grooming in these regions is associated with reduced heart rate and cortisol in the recipient, regardless of species. When a cat licks your hair or the back of your hand as you fall asleep, it is engaged in a behavior that reduces physiological stress in the animal being groomed. You are the recipient of something that is genuinely good for you. The smell of a familiar cat, its specific body scent, produced by the sebaceous glands, puff-pats, and facial glands, activates the human brain's olfactory system in a way that prior positive associations amplify. The brain encodes scent memories in the limbic system, the same structure that handles emotional memory. The smell of your specific cat may be among the most emotionally resonant scents in your environment, triggering comfort, warmth, and associations with rest that were laid down across years of shared sleep. Scent is the oldest sense. Its memories are the most durable. We are deep in the second half of our journey now, and the pattern continues to deepen. The cat that chooses to sleep with you is embedded in your biology. Its purr is in your cells. Its warmth is in your thermoregulation. Its presence is in your cortisol levels, your oxytocin cycles, your breathing rhythm. The psychology of cats that sleep with you is not just about the cat, it is about what happens to you, chemically, neurologically, evolutionarily. When a small predator decides you are worth trusting with its most defenseless hours, something in you opens to meet that trust. Cats have been shown to differentiate between the emotional facial expressions of their bonded human, responding differently to a happy face versus an angry face, to a relaxed expression versus a stressed one. This capacity to read human emotion from visual cues alone, in an animal so different from us, suggests a level of social intelligence that developed specifically in response to living with humans. The cat has learned to watch your face because your face tells it things that matter. When you are at peace, the cat knows. When you are tired and ready for sleep, the cat knows that too. The theta brainwave state, associated with the drowsy period just before sleep, when the mind produces slow, dreamlike imagery and emotional memories, is also a state of heightened sensory receptivity. In this state, the sensations of a cat's warmth, its weight, and the sound of its purring may be experienced more richly and more emotionally than during full wakefulness. The last thing many cat owners are aware of as they cross the threshold into sleep is the cat's presence, because that presence is literally the last signal the brain registers before the world goes dark. In a study examining the sleep preferences of adults who shared their sleep space with pets, a majority of cat co-sleepers reported that their pet's presence made them feel more comfortable and secure than sleeping alone. The quality of sleep reported by these individuals was not meaningfully lower than that of people sleeping without pets. The study also found that the perceived emotional benefit, the feeling of being less alone, was cited as important regardless of whether the person had a human partner present. The cat provides something that is its own category of companionship. Cats appear to have a preference for faces. Studies of feline gaze behavior have found that cats spend more time looking at the face of their bonded human than at any other part of the body. Eye contact between a bonded cat and human activates oxytocin in both. At night, before sleep, many cat owners notice their cat settling in a position that gives it a clear view of their face. The cat, it seems, would like to look at you for a while before it closes its eyes. The act of falling asleep in the presence of another trusted being is, in evolutionary terms, a profound statement of vulnerability. For most of human evolutionary history, sleep in groups was the norm. Individuals who slept alone were more exposed to predators and environmental threat. The brain's sleep architecture appears to carry traces of this history in the way it responds to social versus solitary sleep environments. The presence of a trusted companion does not just feel better. At some level, it activates an ancient sleeping mode that the nervous system associates with genuine safety. Cats are highly sensitive to sound. Their ears can rotate independently up to 180 degrees, and they can detect sounds in frequencies ranging from 55 Hz to 79,000 Hz, far beyond human range. During sleep, the cat's ears continue to move and orient towards sounds, even when the rest of the body is still. A cat sleeping beside you in a quiet room is fey. In one sense, maintaining a quiet vigil, it hears things you do not hear. In the old, instinctual logic of the sleeping group, it is taking a turn, watching. You can rest more deeply because something is listening. The relationship between a human and their bonded cat often develops its own distinct bedtime rituals, the specific sequences of behavior that become predictable and mutually reinforcing over time. The cat may follow the human to the bathroom, wait outside the bedroom door, position itself at a particular spot on the bed, and perform the same sequence of kneading and circling before settling. Rituals like these serve to reduce anxiety and signal safety by making the transition into sleep a predictable, familiar event. The ritual has been negotiated over time between two beings who have chosen each other. Children who grow up with cats in the home and who co-sleep with them tend to show lower rates of pet-related allergies than children raised in pet-free environments, a phenomenon related to early immune system training. Beyond allergies, research has found that children who bond with companion animals show enhanced empathy, improved emotional regulation, and lower rates of anxiety. The cat that sleeps with a child is participating in that child's emotional development. The lessons being learned about trust, about the needs of another living being, about the comfort of presence, are lessons that last. There is an old human practice, documented across many cultures, of sleeping near animals for warmth and for the psychological sense of safety their presence provides. The phrase, "a three-dog night," used in some cold climate cultures to describe a night so cold it required 3 dogs in bed for warmth, captures something true about the function of sleeping animals long before the era of central heating. The human instinct to find a sleeping animal comforting is not sentimental. It is ancient. The cat beside you tonight is part of a lineage of warm, breathing companions that has accompanied human sleep since before recorded history. By now, the answer to the question we began with has become clear. Why does a cat sleep with you? Because you have been observed across many days and nights and found worthy of this. Because your warmth, your voice, your smell, and your emotional presence have been encoded in the cat's brain as safe. Because the cat's biology and yours have made quiet adjustments to each other across the months and years of your shared life. Because somewhere in the architecture of two very different nervous systems, a signal has been exchanged and confirmed we are better together. In the dark, You might be feeling very tired now. That is perfectly fine. Breathe slowly. Think about cycles. The cat's sleep cycle. Your sleep cycle. The way they have gradually found each other. Like all cycles in nature, tides and seasons and the long orbits of distant planets, they move without effort, without strain, simply following the paths they were always meant to follow. You are also part of that movement. You don't need to hold on to anything tonight. Let everything unfold, unhurried, unresisted. We're almost there now. A cat asleep on your feet is keeping watch without meaning to. Its sleeping ears still track the room. Its nose still reads the air. You are guarded, in a very small way, by something that also trusts you completely. The slow rise and fall of a cat's breathing beside you is among the quietest sounds in the world. It requires no response from you. It asks nothing. It is simply there, reminding you that life continues at its own pace. Even in the dark, when a cat stretches in its sleep, long, reaching, fully extended, it is releasing the accumulated tension of the waking hours. Every muscle lengthened, every joint opened, the whole body offered briefly to gravity. You can do the same. Let your body find its length. There is nothing to hold against now. Cats dream about what mattered to them during the day. Researchers believe this because the brain regions active during REM sleep correspond to areas associated with movement and spatial memory. The cat beside you may be hunting a shadow it saw this morning, or finding its way back to a warm place it remembers. Its inner life is fuller than it appears. A cat that chooses to sleep, curled against the curve of your body, tucked into the warmth behind your knees, or nested against your side, has found exactly the temperature it was looking for. That temperature is you. You are, for this animal, the warmest, safest place in the room. The purr does not require effort. It simply happens when the cat is at ease, when the laryngeal muscles find their rhythm and the sound moves through the chest like a small, continuous tide. You don't have to do anything to hear it. You don't have to do anything at all. Cats that have lived with humans for many years develop a detailed internal representation of their owner, a neurological model built from thousands of small observations. The way you breathe when you sleep, the way you move when you are restless, the sounds you make. The cat knows your sleep the way you might know a piece of music you have heard many times. It is already familiar before it begins. There is a gentleness specific to the sleeping animal. Awake. A cat is alert, responsive, occasionally demanding. Asleep. It is simply weight and warmth and breath, the watching, the evaluating, the navigation. All of it pauses. What remains is just the animal itself. At its most fundamental and most peaceful, that is what is beside you now. The sense of being less alone that many people report when sleeping with a cat is not imagined. It is neurochemical. It is ancient. It is real. The body registers the presence of a trusted living being and responds accordingly, with lower stress hormones, with steadier breathing, with a small, documented increase in the hormones associated with trust and connection. A cat that wakes in the night and checks on you, presses its nose briefly to your face, or places a paw on your arm before settling back to sleep, has noticed something, perhaps a change in your breathing. Whatever it noticed, it came to investigate and found you safe. Then it went back to sleep. This small act of concern, this tiny check in the dark, is one of the quietest forms of care that exists. The warmth of a cat passes through the fabric between you and arrives as something specific and familiar, different from a blanket, different from a pillow. It is living warmth, steady and slightly variable, rising and falling with each breath. The body knows the difference. It has always known the difference. Research into the long-term effects of companion animals on human health consistently shows reductions in loneliness, in depression, in the physical markers of chronic stress. These benefits accumulate across years. They are not dramatic. They are quiet and cumulative, like interest gathered slowly. A cat that has slept beside you for 5 years has been contributing to your health for 5 years, one night at a time. Without knowing it, the cat does not think about what it offers you. It does not plan its comfort. It does not know about oxytocin or cortisol or the studies measuring its effects on your cardiovascular health. It simply comes to where you are, because that is where it wants to be, because it has decided, in the deep and wordless logic of its biology, that you are home. There are approximately 600 million domestic cats in the world. Each night, in countless bedrooms and on countless beds, this same quiet negotiation is taking place. A small animal making its way across a sleeping human's space and settling in the same ancient agreement, renewed in the dark, all over the world, all at once. When you breathe more slowly in sleep, the carbon dioxide in the air immediately around you increases slightly. Cats are sensitive to this change and can detect it. The slightly altered chemistry of your sleeping breath is a signal that you have transitioned from waking. Some cat owners have observed their cats only settling in fully, pressing close, beginning to purr. After this transition has occurred, the cat waits for you to actually be asleep before it truly arrives. In the quiet of deep night, every breath the cat takes beside you is independent and unasked for. It does not breathe because you want it to. It breathes because it is alive, because its lungs do what lungs do, because the night is safe enough for this small body to continue simply existing. There is something in that, the unconditional continuation of life beside you, that is worth noticing before you fall asleep. The texture of a cat's fur varies across its body. The fur along the spine is coarser and more protective. The fur of the belly is softer and finer, evolved for insulation rather than protection. The fur of the face, around the whiskers, is the most sensitive. What part of itself the cat offers to your touch says something about the trust involved. The belly is the rarest gift. Long after you have forgotten most of the facts you heard tonight, something will remain. Not a number or a study name, but a sense of what the cat beside you is, the specific nature of its choosing, the quiet weight of its trust. That sense is the actual thing. The facts only pointed toward it. In most mammals, the heartbeat slows in sleep. The interval between beats lengthens very slightly. The body is resting as completely as it knows how. A cat in deep sleep has a heartbeat of around 90 to 120 beats per minute, faster than a human's, but slowing from its waking pace. Two hearts, different rates, both quieting in the dark, both finding their way toward the same still place. The bond between a cat and its sleeping human may be one of the quieter relationships in the natural world. Interspecies. Voluntary. Repeated every single night. Built on something that cannot fully be measured. It is rooted in evolution and neurochemistry and a 10,000-year history of mutual choice. And it is also, at some level, simply this: a small animal that could be anywhere in the world has decided that here, beside you, is where it wants to be. Sleep researchers have noted that the presence of a trusted companion during sleep can reduce the frequency of sleep disturbances. The micro-awakenings that occur even in good sleepers. The nervous system, reassured by the ongoing sensory evidence of safety, is less likely to surface from deep sleep in response to ambient sounds or temperature changes. The cat is not just company in the night. It is a continuous reassurance that everything is still all right. Cats and humans have coexisted for approximately 10,000 years. In that time, humans have changed enormously. In language, in technology, in the shape of daily life. The cat has changed very little. What it offers tonight is essentially what it offered to the first humans who allowed it inside warmth, presence, the sound of something alive. The world outside has not quieted, but in here, in this small space, in this hour, it is as quiet as it has ever been. A cat that presses its forehead against yours before sleep is sharing a scent. Yes, it is marking you as belonging to it. Yes, but it is also doing something else. It is bringing its face, the most expressive, most sensitive, most carefully guarded part of its body, into direct contact with yours. It has decided that this closeness is acceptable, that you are close enough, that you are the one it wants to be this close to. The sleep of a cat is unlike anything else in the world. Alert, and then instantly unconscious. Dreaming, and then awake again without transition. Choosing, and then releasing all choosing. There is something to learn from it. The way it passes completely from one state to another, without holding the previous state in memory. The cat does not lie awake, wondering if it has slept enough. It sleeps. Then it wakes. There is no gap between them for worry to enter. In the end, the psychology of cats that sleep with you is a story about trust, about the slow, mutual, remarkable process of two very different beings deciding that the other is safe. It happens without language. It happens through warmth and scent and breathing, and the specific weight of a small body choosing, night after night, to be here. Whatever else the night holds, this is true, you were chosen, and the choosing was real. And so our quiet journey through the psychology of cats that sleep with you comes to a gentle close. We began with an ancient agreement made 10,000 years ago. A wild cat moving toward human firelight. Not because it was captured, but because it decided to come. We discovered that the cat's purr vibrates between 25 and 150 hertz, a frequency that resonates with something the body already knows how to respond to. We learned that the cat sleeping beside you has a limbic system 66% similar to yours, that it dreams in REM sleep, that it recognizes your voice and your sleeping breath, from the slow blink offered before closed eyes, to the kneading pause, remembering a warmth from the very beginning of life. We have glimpsed something true this small, ancien, Voluntary relationship is one of the most quietly healing things available to us. Cats remind us that trust does not announce itself. It arrives slowly. In the repeated small decision to come close, much of what the cat offers happens in silence. In the purr we feel more than hear, in the warmth that passes between two different kinds of life, in the wait that says, "Without words I have chosen here," without the willingness to be present, to be still, to be chosen. None of this is possible. By pausing to notice what the cat is offering, we find something extraordinary in the ordinary dark. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about unity, about the 10,000 years of quiet agreement between your species and this one, about the oxytocin exchanged in a slow blink, in a kneading paw, in a purr that continues while you both sleep. You are not separate from this. You are part of a very long, very gentle story. Think about the cat beside you, or the memory of a cat, or the idea of one pressing close because it has decided you are home. That decision is the oldest kindness available to this animal. Let your entire being dissolve into the quiet warmth of that choosing. No boundaries left, only the soft weight of trust. Settling in the dark, prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left, only peace. If this gentle journey through the science of cats and sleep brought you closer to rest tonight, if it made you feel less alone, or more aware of the small, sleeping creature that has chosen to be near you, a quiet like or subscribe helps another person who loves their cat find their way here too. One soft tap, one more sleepy soul, finding their way home. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight, inward and backward through 10,000 years of quiet choosing. You can allow these thoughts of cats and trust and the biology of shared rest to fade now, like the sound of purring slowly softening into silence, leaving only the warm, unheld calm behind. Let your breathing deepen. Let your body feel heavier, as if the gentle weight of something trusted has settled across you. Steady, continuous, simply holding you. If sleep comes, let it carry you the way a cat curls into sleep. Not gradually, not reluctantly, but completely, all at once, without a gap for worry to enter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, the cat will still be there. The choosing will still be real. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, sleepy soul, and remember, you were chosen, and the choosing was real. Good night.